approval of the May minutes, can I get a motion?
Bring it over there, Gary.
Make a motion approval of May minutes.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, Steve, why don't you go ahead and give a report?
Okay, we've got 963160. The recreational account, we have $50.45. And Pride Park, we have $536.37. Now, I made a deposit since that field account total was made, and you need to add another, $58.60 to that, $5,860 to that, so we got about, probably about $15,000 in there.
All right, so can we go over the list of, that you just said were paid?
Okay,
You said you got Little Leagues.
The first deposit that I made, which was made on 5/31, was the school for the
Okay.
spring use fees. And also on that one was New England football.
That was the
for
two hundred and
field
fifty
rental.
dollars?
Yep, $250.
Okay,
So that was a total of $25.90. Lynn already has that in this total.
all right.
And then the second one was the fall use for the West Boylston Little League, $2,000.
That should have been spring.
2019, summer.
Okay,
Yeah.
yep.
And then the a check from West Boylston Youth Soccer for $3,860, and it's supposed to be for the fall of 2018 and the spring of 2019, with 193 players.
Okay.
Right? So,
And then since then, we've gotten women's
we've got two checks here.
softball and youth softball.
Yeah, used, women's softball is $1,800, and youth softball is $1,200. So there's another $3,000 that's gonna go in there tomorrow, probably.
Okay.
What do you get for checks to be deposited?
3,000 total. You want an
Yeah,
itemization?
just toss them down here and I'll write it down, I'll come back to you. Pass them on down. I have a deposit from 6/11/18 at West Boylston Youth Soccer for $780. So that was a year ago.
6/11/18, that
Yeah.
would have been fall, spring of 18,
Mm-hmm.
pre-fall of 18.
And then let
So,
me
yeah.
see if there's another one up here.
And it was, what they gave us a check for, the recent check was for the fall of 2018, which would have come probably
After
late
the
in
spring,
18 or
yeah.
Oh,
Early
actually, I have
19.
two. I've got one that was in March, $2,171, and then one for $780.
March of 17?
March of 18. they were
March of
both in
18.
I can look at the, I might not have it on this, so sometimes I didn't get them all.
See, I would have thought that the March one was the spring one of 18.
Well, when do
I'm
we
sorry.
When do we owe them the money?
No,
for
that would have been
the
fall,
net?
that would have most likely been fall of
We
17.
owe the money, how much were the nets, do you remember
It
that?
says,
$600
I wanna say it was like two something a net and they bought,
a pair.
yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it was 500-ish.
Yeah.
So that would have been a total of 1,300 if they hadn't deducted that out. Which,
They mustn't have paid then, so this must be a,
well,
right.
you wanna talk to them, or?
I'll talk to Jenna.
It's not a, we can,
Yeah, no, we'll just double check.
yeah, it doesn't, so on the slips, it just tells me the check number, it really doesn't
I'll
give me
look when I
any,
go home too.
it
I
doesn't
should
give
have
me any
looked
more
at it.
detail to
Alright.
it, so.
I made a note here.
Doesn't help me at
So
all.
based on that, I think everything is paid that we were owed.
Sodas, yes. All we need is a Little League.
You just said we got, oh, that's right.
We need another check from Little League, because we didn't give
I
it.
had to call them like multiple times, they're very difficult to
Didn't
deal with.
respond.
You know, you talk to one guy, he doesn't know the number of people, you talk to the other guy, he
Doesn't
doesn't
have
know where the
check.
treasurer
There's
is.
Checks in the
Yeah, we
mail.
got it. We're just messing with you because you walked in.
Post dated, do not cash it for another 6 months.
It's too late.
Oh, I accidentally just ripped it in half. JK.
I don't have a permit in front of me yet, but the,
No.
that American that football one you were talking about,
Yeah.
North America, whatever it was called,
Yeah.
they wanna use it again,
Really?
yeah. So,
How did that go up there?
it went fine, I guess. No complaints, he has to use it again.
They were doing, they were using, it was just the young kids, right?
It was a tryout, I don't
Yeah,
remember
it
what
was
their
a
ages
tryout,
were, yeah, for two days, 3-hour sessions. Alright, so I do have a permit for, Mr. Mahar's 5th grade, field day. He does a cookout for them, for the 5th graders. It says it's for tomorrow, but I was told by my 5th grader that it's been moved to Wednesday. But,
Tomorrow's supposed to rain.
Dennis signed off on it, but can I get a motion to,
Motion to approve the 5th grade cookout at Major Edwards.
They invite us.
Did you and Pat get that all squared away?
it's the summer house, to be more specific, that they wanna use.
At the summer house.
At the summer house, yeah.
I see you rocking that.
You seconded it?
Yes.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I mean, it's good that he does this, but is he really required to do this based
You
on?
should, if there's somebody else that's using it, he's gonna be out of luck, you know, so I mean, if he,
You wanna make a copy of
something
that?
he's planning, I know it's a pain they have to do it, but
Yeah.
it, kinda reserves it for him.
We on TV?
Oh, yeah, I think so. The other thing is, and I didn't follow up with him, I sent him a thing.
I don't know how we get involved in that,
I already took care of this.
did you?
Yep. I said, I'm fine with it, but contact the police department. I mean, and then I told them to make sure that they're not parked anywhere where if something was going on, they'd be in the way.
Yes, you did.
Quite a few
Yeah.
cars, though, they're talking 10 to 20 vehicles.
Right, but it seemed like it would be off hours, and I just wanted to make sure the police department was aware of it.
Weren't they gonna store cars there, though?
A couple of them overnight, yeah.
6 company cars that would stay overnight while we survey the surrounding area.
This is for the Longhorn Beetle people.
I see that.
They emailed the, Parks Commission email account. Or they filled out that form. I haven't received the permit, but I did reach out to John Petro. So our email's going out to register for summer basketball, but they never filled out a permit. So I told them to,
That's important, because you're gonna have a ton of kids out
oh,
there.
I know, that's a very important one, because it'll be during a point in time where the courts are in use heavily.
And you gotta get the lights going. Lights
I
are
sent them
out.
an email, they still not on?
Waiting for, the company down the road here, Ted Roach, to, he's gotta pick up another York timer. It's a big timer. It's got 7 days of the week on it, and,
Oh, so it's-
what's gone, so he's
Thank you.
Oh,
gonna install it. I'll get on it tomorrow.
okay.
When did, you know when that starts, or? I mean, I've been pushing him for like a week and a half now.
Didn't we turn them on last meeting?
Yeah,
On
well,
weekends?
the June 1st, it was supposed to be on every day. I sent them an
They're off
email.
totally now, because what was happening, the timer would run sometimes, and sometimes it wouldn't, and they were coming on at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Neighbors were complaining.
Yeah, if the timer loses power for some reason, that it'll lose its own time and then go on to wrong times.
I don't think that was the kid's situation, because
No.
I set the thing and I came back 3 hours later and it was still where I set it, so it's kinda weird. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
What do you mean, you set the time to go on and off, you mean?
I set the timer
Oh,
at a
Timer
certain time
itself.
for the day,
yeah,
and I left, came back 3 hours later, and it hadn't moved, it was still on 11 o'clock. This was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so
yeah.
it's not working, but we got complaints from the neighbors that the lights were coming on late at night, so at some point in time, that timer must, for some reason, power off and turn them on.
All right,
We concluded it was the timer, and they're gonna put a new one in as soon as they can pick one up. But I'll call them tomorrow and find out what the story is.
so for the summer basketball, I'll probably end up just approving that, seeing how I think it starts before our next meeting.
Yep.
I'm not 100% sure. Here's our signature sheet, yeah, Lynn. You just gotta write Parks Commission on the top or something. I didn't get any update from Gary on any of this stuff for the DPW.
You know, we keep putting stuff on the list and nothing seems to be getting done, and I'm being told that
No, we don't have a director.
people aren't being told to do it.
Well, we have a interim director, I should say, who, I don't know what he's doing, but he doesn't respond to too many emails. He did respond to the light one.
All right,
I don't know, my philosophy is just deal with it until we get a permanent employee, because I don't think it's,
well, it could be the whole summer.
I disagree, we have a director.
alright, well,
Should be-
I send him these agendas, I don't get updates from him about the meetings, and
We do have a director, so.
So, complain to our town administrator?
Maybe CC her.
we, a high priority item, I think, should be lining the parking lot that's been on this agenda since we had a director.
Yeah.
It's been on here for 2 years, I think. Some lines, some have been done, but if this is the lot I'm thinking it is, it's absolutely horrible, and
The only lines that have been done is the handicapped. The rest of them are there, but you can't really see
you
them.
talking about the ones across the street from Mayfield?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't see anything, it's absolutely horrendous to park there. So,
That
and
whole layout should be changed, you know, I don't wanna get into, open up a can of worms here, but you know, you got an entrance and an exit there. If you could just eliminate one of the entrances or exits and make one just an exit and entry, you'd get additional spaces and you could kinda change the layout of the whole parking lot. And if they're gonna paint it, now would be the time to do it.
sure.
You could also take that island out that's there too, that takes up a lot of space, all you need is a curb,
Yeah,
you know?
the bus doesn't go in there, right?
Buses do turn around in there.
So, if
but
they only had
usually
one
turn-
entrance, would they be able to do that?
I think what they'd have to do is pull in, back up, and then swing around and come out. So that
How many
might,
spaces do you think we're gonna gain?
I don't know, it'd be up to the DPW to lay it out, but,
You'd probably gain if you do what you're saying. Well, first of all, there's no parking, you're pulling into the street, they only park on the right-hand side, like facing, Crescent, and then facing the opposite side of the park, and then facing Apicadale.
Yeah.
Right, so you could keep those, you'd have to block a square out, but there's none across there, so I'd say you could probably put in 4 to 6 spots.
you could put in a row right in the middle where people park now. A lot
Yeah,
of people, I mean,
that's,
what they're
that's an
doing is
option too.
they're double parking there. So, I mean, you could get the row on Crescent Street, you could get the row on Upper Goodale Street, and 2 rows in the middle, plus some against the backside of the parking lot. But you have to lay it out to figure out what you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a situation where we're gonna gain maybe 2 spots, then it's probably not worth following.
I think you can get at least 4 to 6 additional spots by doing something like that.
A lot of people use that, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of them are parking illegally on Goodale Street. I think we have an agreement with the police department, and if there's a game going on or something like that, they kind of ignore the no parking signs and let them do it, you know?
Sounds good.
So the thing we'd have to do is, you wanna do something about it now?
Why don't
Shall
we
we
make, why don't we make a list? I'm around during the day, I'll go down and talk to Gary. I believe he's here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So I won't catch up to him until Wednesday, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. So, we'll make a list of, or I'll, let me add to this list here. I think that's already on there, but we wanna change it a little bit if we can.
Yeah.
Change it possible, and I'll talk to him.
The one across the street's fully lined though, and it's been done recently.
Yes. We also have a broken, I don't know whether you guys are aware of it, but they broke the barrier over there, the wooden barrier. There's a pole snapped off and one of the cross pieces is broken in half.
On the side, right next to the field?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that.
It's down near the end where the flagpole is. I talked to Patriot, it's gotta be fixed, so I just told them to, go ahead and do it, but they haven't gotten to it yet. Last time, I think it cost us like $500 to do it, so.
It's not something we can do ourselves?
DPW can do it, but
It's a piece of wood that's bolted to a post.
well, you gotta put a new post in it too.
Oh, it needs a new post.
You snap the post and snap the cross piece.
Okay.
Yeah, they could do it, but it's a pain, you know.
Well, I guess if you need to do posting, that Patriot's probably best for that, but I figured if it was just a piece
Well,
of
if they were
wood.
careful, they could come up with a front end loader, and just a chain on the post and stand, pull it out of the ground, slide another one right down in the same hole.
Maybe.
All it is pressure treated, you know, it's
Yeah.
pretty heavy duty stuff. It'd be a hell of a lot cheaper to have them do it than Patriot. I know Patriot's reasonable, but they're not gonna do it for nothing. You wanna put that on the list?
Let's just let Patriot do it.
I'd like to put it on the list to make sure that we don't forget about
Yeah,
it.
it should go on a list, yeah, you're
put it
right.
on-
It-
Put it on the DPW list, even though I'm gonna have Patriot do it.
Ask the director if he can do it.
Can do that. I'm gonna talk to him anyway, so.
I would take that list and send it to the town administrator.
Well, let me talk to Gary first.
Well, but that doesn't help the board get a response. You should come to your meeting.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, ever since I called Nancy to get his email when he was the interim, and I've been sending these when I copy him when I send them to Lynn to post.
Things should be getting done, shouldn't be.
Oh, not when I send them to Lynn, but when I send them to everybody else. So,
Are we on the DPW director right now?
yes,
What is other outstanding items?
that is a placeholder for discussion
Anything?
about anything else we wanna talk about. So that's what we're talking about now?
No, I just was curious what it was.
Yeah, that one and the new items, they probably could be merged, but typically it's where we would bring up new problems that we wanna discuss.
Okay, I mean, we,
Is there anything else?
That's been on there for a while.
I will say I drove by the Little League fields again the other day, and the mounds are awful again. They're all like, look like this.
I saw the kids out there after the game the other day with rakes, garden rakes, steel rakes, trying to rake out the baseline with them. I'm wondering if we got any of the big rakes in the storage area room there.
Got both of
Snack shack.
Little League's purchased them.
Yeah.
Both of them are there. I just left there. They have the drag pad, they have the,
They got the
Yeah.
big
Regular
rakes.
rakes,
This
and
kid
they
had a
have the
little,
field.
little steel rake
Yep.
and he was out there
Yeah,
trying
they
to,
have some of those too,
Yeah.
because, the line's not that big.
yeah.
They'd be doing grass.
But he was out in the, between first and second base doing that
Oh.
big area.
but there are other rakes.
Okay.
Yeah, the big grass.
I didn't know if somebody had walked off with him or what the story was. You want me to mention that to him?
Which,
Gary?
the, mounds?
Pitcher's mound?
Yeah.
Which, both fields?
Both of them, yeah. I mean, you could see them when you drive by the street, they look awful.
How do the mounds look at, the softball field?
Good.
Did they ever get the plugs, the plastic plugs?
Actually, it's a piece of wood. It's actually, very good.
Works fine.
Much better than what we did have there.
Who came up with that solution?
Don't know.
I don't know, we were looking for it one day and found this little tiny piece of metal, like wire, when we were digging,
Yeah.
and we pulled on it, and it was a wooden square plug that fit perfect in the hole, and it came out. Then we found the, second one, and put the mound in, and and then we put the plugs back in.
Should
So the
we-
plugs were actually attached the whole time?
No.
No, no, no,
Oh,
we
oh.
pull them out of the hole, put the
Oh.
mound in, and then
And
pull the
then-
mound out and put the plugs back in.
Yeah.
So how are the mounds working?
Good.
Do we wanna do those at the A and B field? Think that would solve the problem?
It may. My only concern is
They're around $60-70 for the whole shooting match.
yeah, my only issue with doing that is you end up having to take them out every game, put them back in every game, because I wouldn't wanna leave a removable.
You're supposed to, that's what they're there for.
Yeah, so the reason why we put them in, the softball field is because we wanted to be able to get rid of it when we're not using it, because we have multiple different
Multiple
distances.
Yeah.
We don't have multiple distances there, so I'd kinda like something permanently installed that sticks around for a while.
See, the problem with those pitcher's mounds that are there now, they've just got spikes on the underside of them, and if dirt gets under them, then they start curling up.
Mhm.
You have to pull
But
them
so
out.
what's changed? Because years ago, we didn't have this problem.
Probably a different design of some type, I'd have to talk to Timmy about that. That's why I'm wondering with the ones that we use at the softball field, you have an insert that goes right down into the ground, it's probably a foot and a half down into the ground. And,
I mean, technically, I wouldn't go as deep
well, you
If
have
we-
to,
if you,
you mean below the surface with the
Yeah.
top of the, yeah, you can bring them by higher.
I know he was concerned about other things, and that's why he did it there, but I wouldn't
But
do
he wouldn't
that.
be dragging those mounds.
Right.
They do those by hand, so that was his concern, he was gonna hook it with the drag rake and pull them out of the ground. So I don't know, if you wanna,
I mean, I don't know,
how
it's,
far into the Little League are we?
it's over, essentially, other than maybe all-stars and tournaments and practices and stuff, but
Playoffs,
you're in, oh, that's right, yeah, it's still playoffs. So, what, another week or two?
if that.
It's usually over right around when school gets out.
You wanna hold off?
Yeah, we probably should hold off, but I mean, doing it now, if,
Well, we keep saying we're gonna rebuild those fields, but we never seem to get around to it.
well, the A field was the only one we, voted on about 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, the problem is we never shut it down.
True.
And if we're gonna rebuild it, technically, the first week in September is when we could start. And even then, soccer uses it.
Thing is, you just gotta shut one down at a time.
So I'll eliminate, I'll just mention
We
this
got one
to,
shut down already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we already have one shut down. Which one, the mounds?
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Don't tell me to make a box, put concrete in the thing and put the line in. That's what I used to
what he
do.
was talking,
And
he
do
was
what?
talking about that.
Right, mine stayed. They never buckle like that.
Tell him what you did, tell him how you did it.
Made a form and filled it with concrete and put the mound, the rubber in there with
Yeah.
the big stakes that are in there.
Yeah.
Mine never moved, they never curled.
You just put the dirt around it?
Yeah, you just bury it just like you would, you know, this thing is sliding in. You just dig it right in the mound.
Not a big deal, I mean, you don't,
It
you don't
isn't a
have, how
big
big a
deal.
hole did you dig?
Well, enough to take the,
Just like a bag of cement?
yeah, because oh, no, less than that.
I'm talking about the
Because I went
concrete,
down
you know,
about that deep.
yeah, about that
You
deep.
went down that deep so that you could cover it with enough dirt and it would never show.
Oh, yeah, right. Always worked for me. I did the same
Did
thing
you
with
tape
home
at the
plate.
top at all, or,
Huh?
did you tape at the top at all,
No.
or just made it square?
It's just deep enough so you can put dirt on it and it's be fine.
Fine, you butt it right up to it, that's it. Home plate was the same way.
So the only problem though is if you wanna change out the mound, when the mound deteriorates and needs to be replaced, you're gonna pull that whole thing out and do
Right,
another
oh yeah,
one.
no, I agree with the movable mound, yeah, absolutely. But I mean, B field, you wouldn't have to worry about it. You know, again, home plate's the same way, you just build a form and set it in there and fill it with concrete. End of story.
I don't think
Doesn't
there-
curl.
is there a problem with home plate in first, second, and third?
First, second, third are receivers, they're
Yeah,
big,
that's
big rubber
Yeah.
holes, those have been fine, I mean, other than times the receivers break. But, yeah, that's been fine, and then,
Home plate,
I don't remember an issue at home plate.
so it's just the pitcher's mound.
Maybe B field several years ago had an issue with home plate, I think we replaced it, but I don't remember, do you remember anything with home plate?
No, I think it's fine, I mean, I don't know, this year.
I wanna say 1 year, like many
Fine
years
this year.
ago, one of the home plates might have started curling.
The tail always does.
The home plate's gotta be a pain to put in there, we used to have 5 stakes, one at each corner.
Again, you make the form, you put the whole thing in it, and that's it, it's done.
Yeah,
And that tail won't rise because of that pin. Just a thought.
Mentioned it to Gary.
Alright, you have 3 things written down, Lovely?
Pitcher's mound,
Yeah,
wood barrier,
yeah,
and
so,
parking lot change if possible, and
Oh,
the
okay.
lines.
I think if you make that one entrance, that would be a disaster, that parking lot,
Yeah, eliminate the island that's there.
that would be a disaster, people pulling in and out of there, that's when you're talking about it, busy time, but everybody coming in and out of one entrance there.
Was Gary an engineer?
Yeah,
Huh?
Is Gary an engineer?
yeah, I will say,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, I don't think you're gonna gain that much, but I think you're gonna.
Well, I think, you know, to Steve's point is people park in these spots anyway, they make their own anyway.
That's more the reason why you need two exits.
They park on, they park on top of the well. I don't think they realize there's a tank underneath there. I mean, it's pretty heavy concrete cover on it, but it's,
How far does the town land go back over the grass?
goes all the way over to the driveway, into the driveway, Timmy's driveway.
So you could make it bigger.
We could.
Yeah,
we'd
but
have-
the problem is where do you put the cars? Because,
You could make it big enough to have, center.
We can go back too,
Yeah, go back and make a center.
back towards Alexanderwich's house, back that way.
the better one is if you wanna keep the two entrances, the one that's closest to Crescent, move it. Right, cause you got all that dead space over there, you move that over and then make the island area wider, and then you could have a double set of.
You'd be right at the intersection. You'd be exiting right at the.
No, I'm not saying go that far. You have cars that pull in this way, and you got, this is Goodale Street, you got this whole area here where basically useless. So if you move this, exit or entrance down a little bit, that area, then you could create a double set of, parking spots that face each other.
Why don't we just get it marked?
Yeah.
Whatever. Something. It's awful the way it is.
It'd be best if you maybe send an email, Gary,
Yeah.
so you get some response.
Now, if you want, I'll start the email, Steve, and then you can go follow up with it in person.
Well, I'll get on talk to him, see what he says.
Yeah. Any, do you know of anything about the irrigation at the high school baseball field? Is he waiting for the season to be over, or?
Yeah, till they're done, and then, we've got all the materials, it's all paid for. It's up
Okay.
in the trailer up at the, old pool parking lot. He's gotta get a hold of, Maroney, cause he's gonna bring his machine down.
What, to pull the lines?
Yeah, pull the lines, and then, we gotta dig it back up again and hook everything up. So, I don't know, it's up to Timmy whenever he wants to do it.
Okay.
It's not a small job. It's not- You gotta have probably a week or two, maybe a week and a half to, get it all done, get it hooked up, get the loomed and seeded and, get it, 'cause you gotta get it back, the grass growing for the following year.
You gotta tell the director that one too.
Pardon?
You gotta tell the director about that.
Yeah, you have to go to Gary, because he needs to know what's going on,
It's got a separate.
I'll talk to him, I'll put that on the list and I'll talk to him.
Alright. Anything else we wanna talk, DPW related?
We got a leak on the irrigation system at the softball field. There's a shut-off valve just before the backflow preventer that is leaking pretty good. Timmy told me about it, and I looked at it. It's weird. I have a feeling that the water didn't get totally blown out of there and it froze, and because there's a flange that screws into the shut-off valve, and it's tight at the top, and there's a gap about that wide at the bottom where it's kicked out, and that's where the water's coming from. So I told him to get a hold of Egan, and they'll put a new one on. But I don't know whether he's done it yet or not.
So this isn't like an on the head, this is what feeds the system, like where the.
This is the line coming in from the street, and the shed there.
Okay.
He may have already done it. I haven't talked to him recently. I'll check with him. Yeah, I'll put it on the list and I'll tell Gary about it.
All right.
Yeah,
How's that?
this is,
How about that? All right. You done with DPW?
Yeah.
There was a question about the FISP.
I got some fertilizer business to talk about too. I don't know what you wanna do it under, but
let's do it under new business after we talk about these two things.
Alright.
So, I ran it by Nancy and Chris. I think Nancy might have run it by Chris, our guest in the audience. And they feel that the Parks and Facilities Committee is the appropriate group for these types of things.
I agree with them 100%. We can't get them to do it.
Well, that's not true. We've made some progress since
We
last
could-
meeting.
We've been going at them for a year.
I'll get to that later. It's another update. So that's that. The Goodale Master Plan money, there's, over 2,000, less than 3,000. I remember
$2,200.
something like that.
What does GDMB stand for?
P,
I mean,
Goodale
G-
Master
P-
Plan.
What's the D in there?
Good deal.
Goodale.
Two words?
No, it's not really. It's not even a word, so it's a name.
All right, what was the update on it?
There is money left. It cannot be used for anything other than the Goodale Park Master Plan, and it was supposed to be used to get updated pricing.
Was that the $5,000?
It's less than 5. It's a little over 2.
2,200.
What happened with that? Where'd that go?
That's all that's left.
I know, but I mean, it was. we
It's
left
still
five-
there.
We left 5 in there.
It wasn't 5. It's 22.
They paid some bills after everything. The original bill was 45, and they must have had some other bills they had to pay, so.
But the question was, what about the money? And the money can either be used to do more stuff with the master plan or go back. So it's not there for use for anything else.
So it's going back?
So I told Nancy, I'm like, yeah, well, I guess we could send it back, and then she must have talked to Pat, because Pat was like, no, it's there to get updated numbers. So we can use it, might as well use it to get the updated numbers. Which seems like a little bit of a waste, because they're not real numbers anyway. But I guess it gives you a ballpark of where you're going.
Can we use that for Speedy Drive for Mixter?
Feed the ducks. Get duck food for the ducks.
Did you just see the minutes?
I didn't even.
I put it in there,
The duck
Valid ducks diving for worms.
including a picture of the ducks. I had to.
So, before we move on to old business, why don't we talk about the fertilizer?
Okay. so
Oh,
you're
I
not
had
in-
one other new business thing too, that I forgot to put on here, go ahead.
Jim Farrell called me from Harold's. He wants to do the clover on the fields. He worked around, checked all the fields. It's getting pretty heavy. Timmy's been complaining about it. He actually mentioned it
That's
last
something
year.
you need a license for?
You gotta have a license for it.
We need it.
Gary, have you looked at it?
We need-
It's bad.
I'm
It's really
saying, but
bad.
we need to
Pro-
get rid of the clover.
They wanna do it right away. We talking, and I think it was included in the, in our, pricing from Harold's originally. This is a picture of some of the pictures he took of the water plot of Clover. This is what it should look like. It's not the whole field. but
Yeah.
you gotta- It's so bad that you gotta do the whole field. And they're
Sure.
gonna do everything that, we have on our list, all 8 sites, which include the library, the town hall, all of them. The only one we might not do is, the triangle over on the senior center won't get done either, probably not Mixter either.
I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, because it's, and price tag
Matter
total.
of fact, if we get some clover over at Mixed Dirt, it'll be green.
It's green now, the grass is coming in, it's just that they didn't do a good prep job on it before they put the grass seed down. The total on it is, $33,305.50.
33,000?
3,000?
$33,305,
How, what?
3,000.
Okay.
$3,305.50. That's chemicals and the application.
Is this not part of the money that we had allocated?
It is part of the money. you look on this speed zone,
Yeah,
that's the Clover, so it's included in this price down here.
okay.
The only thing that isn't included in this price down here is a overseed, that he's recommending. If you read the information that he sent along with it, he's telling us that once we do this, that clover is gonna disappear. It's gonna shrivel up and die, and there is grass growing amongst it. So what he's recommending is that we fertilize or overseed as soon as they do it, and then fertilize in August, which is when we normally plan to fertilize, to try and get the grass
Sure.
to go.
Yeah.
And then, also, actually, he didn't say to fertilize right after we did it. What he said to do was to put the calcium down, which we were gonna do anyways. We gotta order that and get it in. Timmy puts that down for us. So once they do this, then we do the calcium, and then in August we do the fertilizer, and then hopefully in, the fall sometime, we'd oversee the whole thing. Let it do what it's gonna do during the winter.
Who's
But,
gonna oversee?
pardon?
Who's gonna oversee?
We'll,
Them or us?
us,
How are we gonna do it?
so, yeah, same way we always do it with the spreader, I guess. Cemetery spreader.
That to me is a waste. If you're gonna oversee, you might as well drill seed it.
Well, we can do that
That's the
too.
way it gets in there.
You gotta
Unless
find
you
somebody with a,
verify it
you gotta
first.
find somebody with a, well, yeah, you can do that
Then
too.
that's, the chances of the seeds falling in that hole next to nil. You drill seed it, it's in the ground, that's my
I
point.
think the last time we drill seeded, we used Maroney's drill seeded, didn't we? He came down and did it for us.
I remember that, yeah.
And there was a split seat or whatever. It slides it in.
The slit seeder is it's a blade.
It's a verticut. It makes a slice and then it furls and the seed falls right
Yeah.
into that. So it's there. You're not wasting it by broadcasting it all over,
Yeah.
you know, and especially if you aerify it, open it up. Again, odds are to get into that hole, seed, you gotta be a good shot.
Yeah, because the holes are far apart. You'd have to aerate the hell out of the
Yeah.
whole field to get it, so that the seeds will fall in there.
Yeah.
I mean, the drill seed and that's, to me, is the best way to go.
So,
Does he have it down there or anything?
So are we requesting anything here?
no, I just wanted to let you guys know what was going on. I mean,
Okay.
if they do this now, we're gonna have to pay for it.
We have money for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm, where they go? We've got, well, we, no, we don't have.
$3,700.
Yeah, we got 3,700, yeah, but we gotta buy, calcium. We could probably hold off on calcium until July 1st, then we get, that money goes into the DPW budget, so that's
There's only 12,000 in that.
what happened to the 14.
We asked for 12 before we got the quote of 14. Cause it was 12 last year.
Oh, we asked for
Ask
14.
him, can we bump it up to 14?
We already did the vote.
Right. May 20th.
What'd you ask for?
Pretty sure it was $12,000.
So you got a chance.
12,000 there, we got 2,500, 25,000 in
14,
the.
I get right.
I could double check with Nancy, I thought it was 12.
Let me check with Butch,
And then,
I mean,
and then,
Gary.
we got 2,000 in Pride Park.
Yeah.
Is that all it was?
Yeah,
Was there
two
a
five-
was
no,
there
2,000.
5,000 for something else? I have to go back and look at my email. Alright, can I move on?
Nice, hold on now. So what do we wanna do? You want, you give him, cause I gotta call him tomorrow and let him know what we want to, we're gonna do it or we're not gonna do it?
No,
I
let's
don't
do
think we
it.
need a vote, we just need to agree to it.
Well, it's in the plan, we already agreed to do the plan, so.
Okay, all right.
Can I see that one from
Which one you want?
the Clover? What's he gonna use?
So, moving on, what was the name of that thing we were at? Huh? Yeah, the vulnerability review, municipal vulnerability review, and, there was a member from the Worcester House of Correction here. Not a, not an occupant, he worked there. And, they have whole ton of wood chips, and apparently wood chips kills poison ivy. So,
How does it do that?
I'm assuming you put it on the poison ivy.
Come right up throat?
Well, I'm being told it kills it, so, and they get a bunch of it, so if we wanna try it, we just send somebody there to get the stuff and put it on the poison ivy. It's not gonna cost us anything other than a person's time. Might be worth a try.
We don't have a lot of poison ivy, in the Parks area. There's quite a bit in town, if you go along the roadsides, there's a lot down in the back of Pride Park.
Yeah, no, I knew we had, yeah. It might be worth dumping some over there.
We did dump a bunch of it over, we got all of our chips washed out of Pride Park down over the hill in a torrential rainstorm. Yeah, I don't know, what kind of wood chips are they?
I'm not really sure,
Where'd they get them?
Beetlewood.
So we're gonna bring beetles into the parks?
Nope, it's,
Once they chip it, it's no longer,
Whether it must be really finely chipped.
and I think it's an inch or under.
Where they have it, up at the jail, or?
Yeah, I guess. that's
Yeah.
what they told us.
yeah, if you go up,
Well,
The jail
I think
road.
that's something that should go to the DPW director. You know, we complain
you
about
put that on.
poison ivy, he's the guy that you normally would call a licensed pesticide guy and have him come out and spray it, but you wanna try that?
I'd say we try this, I mean, if this works, it's free, and we're not using pesticides.
Who's gonna apply it in here?
No, we have to just go get the stuff, it's just a big pile of wood chips up by the jail.
So, the simplest way to kill ivy and other unwanted plants is to cover them with about 12-inch thick layer of wood chip mulch. Most.
Is that what it says?
Most, I'm just reading it, most covered ivy dies completely after about 3 months. Nice, winter comes and it dies anyway.
And then, I'll tell Gary about it when I go to see him, leave it up to him.
Yeah, that's fine.
12 inches, you said, Chris?
Well, that's what Google says.
It makes sense, you gotta cover it and kill it, get rid of the oxygen, no, not the
Yeah, 'cause
oxygen,
you know,
carbon dioxide.
it's pretty hard to kill.
You said it'll grow through. No, it's not gonna grow through that.
How effective is that?
I don't know how many people have, well, I mean, if you're letting your poison ivy grow, I guess you probably could cover it with 12 inches of mulch.
I hit it with a Roundup. Hold my breath while I'm doing it.
Yeah, you better. All right, so, moving on. Nancy, Pat, and myself met a few weeks back to discuss both the mixed project and the Woodland Park project. So basically, he's got a bunch of layouts of the areas and told them what we wanted as far as mixers, ideally reconstruct the field, moving home plate. Went through a whole bunch of items that we would basically ask for to get prices on, to see what we would wanna include, what else we, you know, what we wouldn't wanna include, et cetera. I told them that ideally it would be fenced, yet we also wanna be able to put soccer there, so if the fence becomes an issue with soccer, then maybe we don't have a permanent fence. So I basically said,
When you say a fence, you're talking a fence on the outfield fence?
Yeah.
Or a fence around the,
I'm thinking
Grass area.
an outfield fence. I said netting along both sides like we've been doing everywhere else.
yeah, at least along the road there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, along the road and, you know, did that one by the woods, poison ivy in there. So, put netting to keep the balls over.
12 inches of mulch.
So,
12 inches, yeah. I remember that, yeah.
so he's gonna get some prices together to figure out how much it would cost to do an engineering design and build out for that. And then also, we talked about Woodland fixing the field, so it, you know, the drainage issues and everything else, and the deck hockey, and potentially extra parking. So between these two projects, he's moving forward, and he's gonna have a meeting with Parks Facility Committee, get everybody reassembled, and start working on this. And hopefully,
This summer?
I told him, I said, as soon as possible, now, right? I wanna be able to go to October town meeting if we need CPC
Well,
funds.
the reason I ask is that if you're gonna go to CPC, you've gotta do it before the town meeting, and the town meeting's in October.
Right.
So I think the cutoff, what's the cutoff for the town meeting in October?
Usually it's in September, early September.
What, for articles?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean-
CPC too, CPC has,
CPC, we can hold the slot, can't we?
yeah, but they have rules on when you can apply and things.
Yeah, that's, I know that, but I'm just
We're
wondering,
talking
it's gonna be tight,
July, August, I mean,
you know,
close is right here.
I really gotta move. Just to add something to the subject, I had a gentleman stop and talk to me, the other day, Dan Mercurio. And he was interested in doing something at Mixton for a T-ball, which would fit into what we wanna do. He and his father. So I don't know whether Pat wants to talk to them, she probably should contact them.
What does he wanna do for T-ball?
He wants to rebuild the field. He's willing to use his equipment. You know, when we did the practice field up at the pool, he gave us a really good deal up there. I think it'd be worth talking to him. I mean, we'd have to get other quotes,
Yeah,
but they are a
but they don't have to
partnership.
be prevailing wage.
They don't have to pay prevailing wage, so, the only people that are gonna be able to compete with them are other people that don't have to pay the prevailing wage. If you're bringing in anybody that's got anybody working for them, they're gonna have to pay the prevailing wage, and they're never gonna beat their
Yeah.
price.
But they can't do everything, right?
Yeah, they
Like,
can, well,
well, fencing and netting.
fencing, we have to, we do the same thing we did at the practice field. You know, you have to get prices from a fence company, 3 fence companies. You need a backstop, you need a fence around it, you have to decide whether you want to use seed or sod.
Right.
So, just, you see Pat,
All right, I'll tell him.
because he was interested. He actually said to me they'd do it for nothing. But I told him that town can afford to pay him.
Sounds good. Oh, are they allowed to do it for nothing?
Yeah, donation, yeah.
All right, well,
I mean, I can talk to him further, but I don't wanna get in the middle of this thing.
yeah, I'll get on Pat to find out when we're having that meeting, and
I would assume that Pat knows both Dan and Dave, so
I'm sure.
he can go to talk to them, find out what they,
I think it's great, but saying what's gonna go there, that's up to the league. What goes there? You said they wanna remodel it for T-ball.
no, all he's looking for is, he knows that we want a baseball field there, but he wants to be able to use that.
That's saying a softball.
Yeah, well, it's currently a softball field, and we wanna keep it basically a softball field. I mean, as a softball field, like, we used to use coach pitch there and stuff like that. I mean, you can do other things. It's not gonna be used like Little League. But at least with softball, the women could stay in town, and the youth softball could have more fields, because right now, they can't even barely practice more than once a week. And if it rains or there's a game, then sometimes they don't get practice
What
at
are you
all.
talking about now?
Youth softball.
Yeah.
It's so packed between high school games, and there's 3 different age groups for the youth to have games there, and then practices. So between all those teams, you can't really get on the field at all.
I guess they're doing the T-ball up at Woodland now,
Yes.
They've been doing that for a long time.
yeah, so.
So, I mean, another softball field, to bring Mixter back as a softball field that could also be used for things like coach pitch would be much better. I don't know if Little League needs it for coach pitch, but it would be available, and/or T-ball.
And also, did you mention to him about the availability of fill we needed up there from Cove, Mike Cove?
No, I don't.
He's got
remember what-
15,000 yards of fill that he's pulling off of Burnt Coat Extension and Worcester project he's doing down there, and in my conversation with him, he had like 15,000 yards that he had to get rid of, he was giving it away. All they'd have to do is truck it in, whatever they need, but somebody's gotta look at the material. Mike seemed to think it was pretty good material, but, you know, somebody would have to look at it and verify that. I don't think there's any restrictions on bringing it into town. Somebody told me we had to check for arsenic, but I don't believe that.
Where would we put it?
Well, you'd dump it on the field. Once you got the project going, if it's still available.
Is he in a rush to get rid of this film, or?
That's a lot of fill. You know, he's digging it out and he is giving it away, but he's still got a lot left, so depends on how quick we move.
Okay.
I'm just trying to give Pat all the information that I have and
All right.
it's available. We want it.
Sounds good. Any other questions on any of that stuff? No? Anything with the concession stand? No. The dogs in the fields, I don't remember how in-depth we talked about this the last meeting or not. People are not obeying leash laws and
Not.
they're showing up in the middle of school day and basically telling teachers where they could go.
Lock the gate.
It's not just there, Gary. It's not just the baseball field, there's some that's happening at the track and elsewhere. So, basically, we need to enforce the bylaw. I think I gotta talk with Nancy, cause, she was gonna take care of it, but we have a dog officer who's part-time.
Is he responsible for enforcing that stuff?
Yeah, the problem is it's happening during the day and he's got another job. So it needs to fall on the police department. But I think we need
Well,
to.
he's saying to the school when they're okay with kids that, you know, that's a police issue, not a dog officer.
How people-
Yeah, but we should also be fining them for not being on a leash. That's part of,
If you're in the field when the kids are out there,
right,
especially with dogs.
so,
There's issues everywhere. The rail trail has major issues with dogs and picking up and all that stuff.
Maybe we need some parks rangers.
But you guys,
no, we're park commissioners.
yeah, you like to.
Yeah.
We could ask the select
Can we
committee
appoint-
to hire a parks
We
ranger.
appoint ourselves to be,
Dog cop,
police, parks police,
Probably are already.
pay ourselves $1.
Under the rules, you probably are. Probably consider.
And Dennis did say, I mean, I've never actually gone, there. He did say we could go get, IDs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all we gotta
But
do
we're
is
not
go
gonna
down.
get any further than the teacher got. But you need somebody that will, instead of walking away after a conversation like that, will take their cell phone and call a police officer and take care of the situation.
Yeah,
We got a lot of people that think that, you know, these parks were built for their dogs to run free and do whatever they feel like doing without them having to pick up.
well, we could consider just changing the rules.
We went through that once before.
No dogs.
Isn't that the rule?
No. We yield to the town bylaw, which is basically you have to pick up your pet's waste and they have to be on a leash.
For years, we had no, Lynn, didn't we have no dogs under our
It's
rules?
not on the rules.
Huh?
It's not on the rules. I
I
don't
think the only
think
place we had no dogs was the playground.
Years ago, we
I
didn't have
have to
those
go
dogs?
back and look. I don't think so.
I remember at some point in time, we asked that question and we were told that because they're public parks, that you can't really do that.
I don't know why we would have restrictions when we have full control over the park as park commissioners.
Yeah, I don't think so. I thought it was the rule. They-
Might wanna get a legal opinion before we get too rambunctious.
Yeah, we can do that.
Just a quick question.
I thought they were building a dog park.
I don't think that was
No, neither do I.
Well, you know what, the funny thing is, you mentioned that, one of the women that had come from a town with a dog park that was, you know, working with open space on trying to create one, has dogs, and says, yeah, you know, I'm all for the dog park, but I'm not gonna bring my dogs there. So, just because there's a dog park, I'm sure a lot of people would like it, but like Chris said, it's not gonna,
They like a lot of the areas because they can let them go and the dogs can't get out. There's a fence all the way around everything, so they just run it and have
this
fun.
seems like, I mean, this report seems like somebody wanted to go use the track and bring their dog with them and not have them on a leash. So,
We're gonna be publishing soon the survey that we took. And a lot of the stuff that on the survey, so we kind of good to look at.
alright,
As we get it out to the communities. Dog parks, fields, where residents wanna spend money, where they don't wanna spend it.
alright. Next are senior center field conditions, so we heard from Nancy today that the owner's project manager is not gonna sign off till it's back to the way it was supposed to be.
What was that? I missed that.
The owner's project manager is not gonna sign off on the project until the field is back in the condition it's supposed to be.
We have a meeting Wednesday, and I'm sure that'll be the topic.
Is that selectmen or FISP? Both.
of the meeting. Yep,
FISP, okay.
I mean, I had pictures of it from the other day, it's a disaster.
Yes, it is.
Have you been up there, Chris?
Yeah,
Yeah.
election day, we walked around.
Did you look at the drainage ditch out on the road, between the wall and the road? Where they ran the utilities out and they mounted that ditch up like this so the water can't drain?
It's on this side of the wall.
It's on
It's on
the,
the park side of the wall.
no, it's on the street side. That
Oh, I
water,
know, I looked at the electrical
the
electrical box that's in the field.
no, yeah, but if you go out on the outside on Prescott Street, there's a ditch that goes right along the side of the wall, out between the road and the wall. And it feeds into a catch basin almost down to the driveway.
Yeah.
And that goes under the road to a catch basin across the street and then wherever the water goes. When they dug the utilities across the field, they mounded it up right there where they went from the wall to the road. So the water sits over here, that's why that water stayed on the field for so long. They need to dig that out and set it up so that the water will drain down to the catch basin and out under the road and down the street.
Maybe they thought the original design had a duck pond.
I mean, it's so simple, anybody looking
You
at it,
didn't notice that?
if you look at it, you can see that there's a problem there. And the only problem is, you got a gas line going out there too, so you gotta,
And the pole in the, Pat and I were talking, the pole in the box,
Yep.
junction box, if you wanna call it.
that's not an electrical
Should not
junction,
be,
that's not an electrical junction box. I asked,
it's cable?
Darren about it. He didn't know what it was, but we assumed that it was probably cable.
I don't know, it's all filled with water, all the pipes are filled with water right to the top, there's no caps on them.
And the
There's
other
an
part,
orange hose going from there, then it comes out at the pole. It sucks through something, it's like an orange shop vac hose, that's the only thing I can compare it to. And it comes from the pole down into one, and then into another in the box. I don't know what that is, but I got a picture of it.
Maybe you hook it to a shop vac and blow the water out of the holes.
I don't know. There's caps there that filled with water in there backwards instead of capping it. I don't know what. I got pictures.
So
of
what
it.
was this for? Is this part of the utilities? Or we don't really know,
I
because we
thought
don't
it
know
was
what.
electrical, but it.
well, I went to Darren at the light plant. I said, Darren, do you know anything about that manhole? He said, that's not electrical. We wouldn't put one of those
It
in there.
looked like cable to me.
Yeah.
But that pole should be out on the street, not in the back.
Could be on the street, yeah, I don't know why they didn't put it out there. They ran lines all out there.
Yeah, I got pictures of it that I'll bring up once.
And the other thing is I don't know why, you haven't taken any distances there, but the sign for the senior center is so far away from the driveway, plus you got a light to illuminate it, it's even further back.
Oh, yeah, it's light, sign, light.
Yeah, so I mean, it's right out in the middle of center
Takes a lot of
field,
space.
yeah, so. And the stones,
Those are going,
hate those stones.
those are going. Those are going, well, they're going, we're waiting for
Are they taking them?
I don't know who's taking them, but they're not staying there.
DPW is not doing
No,
them.
we don't. We would like to put like a wooden guardrail there.
You know, it looks nice, but you hit it and it gets broken and it's expensive to fix.
I don't know. I mean, you gotta put something.
Why not put a fence there?
Hit that, well, that's even worse, hit a guardrail, you're gonna dent the
No,
guy.
it's not as expensive to fix though. I mean, fence they can,
I don't know, I think we're gonna talk about that too. That's what I was thinking, they have the guardrail at the top by the senior center.
Yeah.
I thought it looked nice.
they're always hitting the one at
Anything
Bayfield.
better than rock.
All right. No updates on any of the other stuff. Video phase one, the fee schedule, dugouts, unless, you got, anybody have an update on the dugouts? No?
A man moved out of town. Gary,
What's that?
Steve moved up
Yeah,
to Maine,
he's gone.
so we're back to square one on
Working
that.
One other guy.
All right.
What field's that, high school field?
Yeah, roofs and the dugouts at the high school field. Other than that, the committee update, I kinda already gave for Park Facility Committee. Gary, do you have anything for open space,
No, we're meeting,
Thursday?
Thursday.
You're on the Parks Facilities Committee too, Gary, right?
Yeah, but there was no meeting,
Oh,
my
just
update was,
saying, we're supposed
yeah.
to have two people on there.
Right. Any member
You still
requests?
You still on it?
No. I haven't been on.
Raj and Pat
Raj and
are.
Pat have been on it.
What?
Raj and Pat.
There hasn't been a meeting since he got off though, so it's fine.
I know, but I didn't know that
He's
he
been
got
on.
off it.
I wasn't on, last time there was a meeting, I wasn't one of the
I think
representatives.
they've met a few times maybe, but that was, we're talking probably 2 years ago.
I think I've been a representative for 2 years. Me and Gary.
Ever since you got on it, though, no, they didn't want to
There's
meet.
been never a meeting. Not even a joke, see, it's the truth. There wasn't a meeting for several months before I got on it either, but. Anything else, Steve?
No.
No? Anybody else?
No.
Next meeting is July 8th.
I have a request. Can we stick to the second Monday of the month for a while?
Wanna what?
Probably.
Second
Cause
Monday? Is
September, we gotta go to the second Monday anyways.
Yeah, we're already on it for July.
that better for you?
Mm-hmm.
So you want August 12th?
Yeah,
That's fine.
Gary,
thank you.
12th, all right, August?
7?
Yes.
Unless you wanna meet earlier.
No?
No,
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All's in favor? Aye.
Takes forever, those things are a lot.
You're probably the reason.
What?
No, he hasn't.
Nancy asked me if